Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day and I hope everyone is ready to learn about the Revolutionary War. We will be discussing some interesting facts about it as well as going over the years it took place, one of the causes, and kind of the timeline to describe exactly what happened. Before getting into the Revolutionary War, enjoy a quick commercial by our sponsor.
Oh, Egg McMuffin, good call, babe. And you're definitely not my boyfriend. Oh,
It's easy to get lost at breakfast at McDonald's.
Continue with the podcast. So, to start off, the Revolutionary War took place between the years of 1775 and 1783, which, if we can do basic math, that is a total of 8 years of war. And now, this happened due to a tension that was arising between the residents of the Great Britain's 13 American colonies and the government, because the British government was left with enormous debt due to the French and Indian War, and they wanted to start making some kind of income, which caused them to start taxing the colonists, which caused the colonists to be outraged and completely against this, and actually led them to go into protests. So this was already leading into the war. This actually caused some open fire in 1770 between the British soldiers and the people, and they actually killed 5 men in the Boston Massacre. So fast forward to 1775, the war took place in many different locations. The Patriots are called the colonists that were living in the British North American colonies who rebelled against the authority of the crown. And this is interesting to me because I actually grew up in Massachusetts, where the capital is Boston, and often we hear the Boston Patriots. So I did not know this, and it's great to learn about it. The Loyalists were called those who lived in the colonies and remained faithful to the crown and the British. All right. So Great Britain had 8 million residents in 1775 and 13 colonies. Um, and the largest cities in the colonies that participated were Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Massachusetts, Charleston, and Newport. Okay. The majority of the war was fought in New York, New Jersey, and South Carolina, with more than 200 separate battles occurring in each of these colonies. Okay, which is what I find extremely interesting because I'm gonna I'm gonna discuss a timeline with you guys so you can see just how spread out this war actually was. So in April 19 of 1775, um, the battle was actually happening in Concord, Massachusetts, and this was called the Battles of Lexington. Then in May 10th of 1775, they were in New York, and this battle here was called the Siege of Fort Ticonderoga. Then they were in Hill, Massachusetts in June 6th of 1775, and this battle was called the Battle of Bunker. Then in August 27th of 1776, a whole year after, they were again in New York, and this battle was called the Battle of Brooklyn. Then in December 26th of 1776, nearly 6 months later, they were in New Jersey, and this was called the Battle of Trenton. Not even a couple days after, January 3rd of 1777, they were still in New Jersey, and the battle here was named the Battle of Princeton. Fast forward a couple of months, September 11th of 1777, they were in Philadelphia, and this was called the Battle of Brandywine. Fast forward about a month, in October 4th of 1777, they were still in Philadelphia, but this battle was called the Battle of Germantown. Fast forward 3 days, October 7th of 1777, they were back in New York, and this battle was called the Battle of Saratoga. Then in June 28th, in 1778, they were in New Jersey, and this battle was called the Battle of Monmouth. Then in March 29th of 1780, they were in South Carolina, and this was called the Siege of Charleston. And it goes on, but I find it fascinating just how many different battles and small battles happened during this war, because sometimes we think like, oh, it was one ginormous war, everything happened, bam, there, everyone who, like, soldiers died, everything, one day, or maybe like a week. But no, it happened throughout years and even throughout different locations, you know? So it's crazy to think about. I just wanted to quickly address the people who unfortunately died during this war. So an estimated of 6,800 Americans were killed in action. Approximately 6,100 were wounded, and approximately 20,000 were actually taken prisoner. So definitely many people were affected by this war. I've learned a lot. I'm fascinated by history and everything that has happened, that has led to where America is right now. And it is without a doubt that the Revolutionary War has had a ginormous impact on the United States of America that we know today.